Okay. Hi everyone. Not too long ago, me and my friend went to Pangandaran to fulfill our assignment, which was to become a tour guide for foreign tourists. We went there by using our motorcycle, and it took us about 3.5 hours because we got redirected by Google Maps to the, I guess, less popular route, which was actually much further, and that took us about a half an hour more than the usual trip. But anyway, we made it and we got there safely in one piece. Once we were in Pangandaran, we went to meet our local tour guide, and apparently the tour guide tells us that there are foreign tourists at the time who were staying in Pangandaran. Long story short, we got into the location, we got to a Green Canyon, we meet these foreigners and we interacted with them. And I remember correctly, the tour leader or tour guide said to me and my friend who speak Netherlands, who speak Dutch, I said bravely, "Ik spreek Nederlands." I speak Dutch, that's what I said. And the tourists were actually pretty impressed by my simple yet effective communication in Dutch. And apparently that opens up communication between me and them. And throughout the experience, we eventually got into the Green Canyon attraction, and then after that we eventually have a moment to speak with them to have that assignment done. And in that moment, I've learned quite a few things, a lot of things in fact. So there are 3 things I learned from this experience. The first one being is that linguistic and cultural hospitality is real. So when we actually give efforts to speak or to try to speak foreign people language, like I did, for example, I tried speaking Dutch, and the tourists or the foreigners were actually pretty happy to hear their language being spoken by others, like me, for example. And it shows that despite our difference, we can actually communicate in many different ways, and trying to speak foreign language is one of them. My interaction was a real example of it. And then second is that stereotyping. When I met these foreigners, I already had many stereotypes in my mind. For example, that stereotype of foreigners are bad smelling, and then the stereotypes that foreigners are cold and rude towards local, and then the stereotypes of that foreigners tend to wear inappropriate or I guess too revealing clothes. And these 3 stereotypes were absolutely broken down. When I were interacting with them, I actually didn't smell anything bad. And then the second is that they were very nice and warm towards me. In fact, they were very curious about what I think and what I speak. That was very different from the stereotypes. And the third is that yes, indeed, they did wore a revealing outfit, but at the very least they tried to cover it up with towels. So it was, I guess, such respectful gesture towards me and my friend. And then the third concept that I learned is that non-verbal communication is effective at some times. Just like what I did before, I basically did something also known as the chivalrous gesture, where I let those girls pass me, and I said, "Ladies first," and they think it's such a wholesome and such a gentleman-like gesture. So that's, I think, a good example of how non-verbal communication works, by letting different genders, in this case, well, me, I'm a male, and then I let those girls pass me, and I say ladies first is actually considered something respectful. Okay, so with all the lessons out of the way, I feel like this is the best time for me to say goodbye and thank you for watching. Have a nice day, and I'm Daffa, signing out.